Good evening, everyone, and let's start. So, first thing first, I'm gonna change one thing here, and then I'm gonna make sure I'm sharing my entire screen, not the application page. So, let's share the audio as well so you guys can hear properly. Okay, so I guess you guys can see my screen. Awesome. So I'm going to switch back to the presentation mode, and from here I'll be continuing from each and everything. Okay, so just give me 1 second to fix one issues and then we continue. Awesome. So I'm still having an issue with my voice. Okay, so let's start. So my name is Animesh Roy and I'm running one security consultancy named 0bit, and I'm the moderator for Aristi. So you might have seen me on website, on WhatsApp groups or Discord. If you want to reach me out, this is my Twitter handle. Drop you a message, I will be there to join you guys. So today our outline is divided into 5 different chapters. So today we're going to finish from lesson 1 to lesson 4. If you got enough time or interest, I'll go jump into lesson 5 and show you how you can have a collide to maintain or manage multiple OSQuery instances. So this is very much helpful because you can have one panel, and that panel will help you to run query on multiple systems. So this thing what exactly that we required in a enterprise organizations. So if you get enough time and if people are interested, I will go and show you how it works actually. Okay, so let's start with the introduction to OSQuery. I guess for many people this is a very new thing. Don't worry, when I started, for me that was a very new thing. Okay, so I had to start from scratch because I wasn't able to find anything until I found Pentester Academy, where they have a dedicated labs for this, where I get to know more about the stuffs that actually going to that actually helped me to make something good out of it. Shall I showing you from the scratch what this is, how it works. I'll be running some basic commands to give you the basic glance how it works, and then we'll go for some advanced commands and I'll show you how it works as well. Okay, so meanwhile, if you're getting any questions or queries, please let me know. I'll try to answer it during the chat. Okay, so that will be there. If you get anything, just raise your hand. I'll try to answer it as soon as possible. So let's jump into the first lesson. What is OSQuery? Right. So OSQuery is an open source tool created by Facebook. So if you click on this link, it should open up facebook.com/OSQuery. Okay. So this thing actually designed to maintain multiple systems, run queries, and fetch the information from those remote systems or servers. So basically it's Facebook, so most probably that will be designed for the servers, but doesn't matter, we can run it on any operating systems that we want. That includes Windows, Linux variants, and Mac. Okay, so we can actually get some or fetch some information like running process, kernel modules, active user accounts, active network connections. And active network connections is something that actually help us to find out what's going on. Okay, there's a ton of things that we can get and achieve by running this thing. So OSQuery is basically based on SQL statement. If you understand SQL, you will find this is pretty much easy and fun to run and write commands on this. Okay, So I guess I cleared out what OSQuery is. If you got any questions on this, please ask. If you don't, I'll go and continue further. So I got no questions, so let's continue further. Okay, so jump into the other thing. So OSQuery is a framework. Okay, so just like other tools, OSQuery have two different variants. So first is we can run it on a standalone system. Okay, like I can have the OSQuery agent on my Windows or my Linux or my Mac, and then I can run commands to fetch updates from my own system. Okay, there is interactive query console that we're gonna use, and most commonly it's known as OSQuery I. I stands for interactive console. Okay, this will give us a SQL type interface where we can actually go run our query and fetch the details. Okay, so we're gonna use SQL statements and run these things. If you have ever run any SQL statements, that will make more sense for you people as well. Okay, so let's go and start showing up all those things. So now deploying the OSQuery. So it's a agent softwares that will be running on your endpoints. Okay, so in my case I'm running on my Windows. If you want, you can have the same thing on Linux as well as on Mac OS. So there is the documentations for each and every one. So if you click on these things, we will be getting up access to that particular installation method. Okay, and make sure when you're having installation these things for Linux or Mac, make sure you're running this thing as a root. Okay, so you will get access to all those informations that you want to fetch. If you're not running as a standard users, you might face some issues while fetching some kernel modules or some networking related stuff. So it's always a good idea when you're running these things, run as an administrator, so you can fetch all kind of information. This is not required because you can actually run as a standard users, but there will be some issues during fetching informations or running some queries. So it's always a good idea to run this kind of programs as a root or system privileges. So in Windows you can run as administrator, and that will give you permissions to view or query any API calls that runs on Windows. On Mac you can run the same thing with sudo command, as well as in Linux you can run things with sudo command or with a root terminal. Okay, so these are basic commands that I'm gonna show you. So first one is, you can see it in screenshot, select name comma version from OS versions. So this is gonna fetch some information like this. Anyhow, I'm gonna go and show you all those commands one by one, so that will make more sense. And I'll sharing up the schema that is official documentation of OSQuery. Okay, it's a part of their documentation. I'll show you how you can write your own custom queries to run and fetch information. Okay, so the first one is shell history. Now shell history is designed for Linux based operating system, right? So all you do is run something like select star from shell underscore history. Okay, so that will give me some information about my shells. Same for users, I can do select start from users. It will be giving me access to user shell. And let's run this kind of queries, right? It's hard to go and read all those things. So what I'm going to do is, I'll start with my Windows or Linux. Just give me one thing. Where do you want me to see run these commands? On Windows or Linux? You can type it on chat box and I'll take it from there. Windows. Okay, so I got this query from Windows, so I'm not going to fire up my virtual machine. So if you go here in deployment, there is an option for installation for Windows. So if I do open up this link, and here is the process that you can follow to install these things on Windows. What I did is I just went to our download page and clicked on Windows MSI file and download it from here. After that, I installed it. So I'm gonna run terminal and run it as an administrator, and I can verify this is administrator by looking into this prompt. So when we install it's on Windows, the location will be C program files and then OSQuery. So this is there. If I do who am I dash all, I'll see I got ton of privileges on this terminal. That's gonna help me a lot. So if I do ls, we should see OSQuery i.exe. This is this file. I'm gonna run this file here, and when I paste this file, I got an error message saying, hey, this is not a recognized cmd.let. So I have to do // OSQuery i.exe, and if everything goes well, we should see this kind of window. If I do .help, it will print out the help menu for us. So first command, that was a select star from OS_version. That is from my PPT, and I say this information. In my PPT, I made it short. I did name and version. So I can do the same thing like name and version, and it will print out these two information for me. In Windows, we don't care about the version, we also care about build numbers. So I will just go and add BUILD and run this query, and we can see the operating system name, the version also include the build number and the build number here itself. Okay, so going back to the presentation, and this was the command. Now select star from shell history. If I try to run this thing on my Windows system, so if I do select star from shell history, I'll say there is no table named shell history. So shell history only works on Linux. So when I designed this PPT, I was using Ubuntu, as you can see the first screenshot. But you guys asked me to use it on Windows, so some of these commands might not work. Okay, so there is something for networking, so I can print out networking addresses because this is common for Windows, Linux and Mac. So this thing should work for each and every environment. So the command is select star from interface addresses. So I will go and run this command. So select star from interface underscore address, then ES, and we should see something like this. Now here, because I'm running some VMware stuff, so these are the things from VMware. Now let's suppose I only want to care about this particular thing. So what I'm going to do is run this query, and just like SQL statement, what I'm going to do is where interface is equal to what is the Wi-Fi interface 11, and if I run this query, we should see something like this, right? So it's just like SQL, or I can just do like this, where okay, we can do mask is equal to, and then put the subnet mask of 255.255.255.0. So this is a class C default subnet that we use for class C IP addresses, and we see this is just one address that had this subnet. So there's a ton of ways I can do this kind of stuff. I can do like where type is equal to DHCP, and it will go and fetch detail from this thing. Now next one is DNS resolvers. So select start from DNS resolvers, try to run this one. DNS resolvers, and we should see this thing will be erroring out here, right? So this command is basically designed for Linux and Mac. It's not going to work on this machine. And how I know these things, I'll be showing you those things in few minutes. So next thing is ARP cache. So currently I'm sitting on my office, so I should see a ton of systems going on my environment, and I can verify this thing by running arp-a, and I see these much ARP connections here. So if I go and run it here, arp_caches, and just cache, and we see we got the addresses, MAC address, interface, and permanent. And we can see this the IP address. Mostly these are from my virtual machines going on. And this is my system, I guess. This is the gateway, and this is my broadcast address. So I never pinged any system on my network. So you can see this thing here. If I want to fetch more, I can just type interface ID and type the MAC address and fetch it from only that particular MAC address. So this is another thing that I can go and follow up. Okay, so there's other thing for etc host. So this is the one of the best thing that I ever find out, because sometimes I put information on my host file and I forgot what I had. So if I run this thing, and I can see the IP address and the host name that normally we go and add it in Windows. In if I correctly remember, it's C Windows System 32 drivers etc and then host. So if it cat on host file, and I see this information is indeed available on this place. So OSQuery actually went there and fetched this information for me. Right. So again, next thing is select star from routes. That will show you the current routing addresses. Okay, listening ports. So if I run this query like select star from listening ports, that will be showing us all those listening ports. If I know the protocol and I run with the protocol, it will be showing me the exact protocol, that is 17 is for UDP, I guess. So I'm not sure right now, so let's go and check this protocol quickly. So UDP protocol, and come on, RFC 768. I guess Wikipedia should have this information. And this does not have this thing. So if I do port 17, and it should come with me the list of listening UDP ports, where I can see this is from UDP. So if I do that thing, I can find information on that way as well. There's a ton of things that you can do by running this kind of query. So select, I have the simple query like select protocol, local port, base name and base path from process open sockets as is join, where process is PID and protocol is 17. So this thing should work with Linux as well as in Windows. I never tried it, so we can try this one as well quickly. Now the process, this command makes a ton of sense, right? So I can see all those processes running on my system. So process yes. Select star from processes. My bad, I didn't had from there. And I see ton of information. And because of this kind of information, it's hard to see what's going on. So what I do is I put a limit for 1. Now I can see this header here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select thing that required for my task. So I will do select PID, name, path, where process, and limit I'll set it to 30. So it will go fetch this information for top 30 processes, and that I can see it here. Okay, if you want to do more, you can just build the limit function, run it, and it will go and fetch all those processes running on my system. So you can see I'm running MS Edge, that obviously I'm running it here, OBS 64 that is recording my session, and this is the path that this is running. Now this is helps when we do a forensics or basic investigation, because I can see which process is running on what path. So if I see chrome.exe is running from c temp hacker / chrome.exe, that will make more sense. This is not a actual Chrome, this is a fake program by hackers. Okay, so other one is where you can actually look for the process is running by root or not. So the same command, you just add where process on disk is equal to 0, and that will go and list all those process that is running with root privileges. Okay, and that thing works much better in Linux than Windows for some reason, I'm not sure why. Now, so far these are the basic commands that you can run it on your system, and now let's talk about some use cases. Okay, so let's suppose I want to finding new process listening on network ports. Okay, so this is the command that we can run. So I'm gonna go and fetch this command from my ppt and run my OSQuery thing one more time, paste the command, and I see all those application that is listening on my system. So SVC host listening on port 135, VMware listening on port 443 to secure authentication, and any other program that makes more sense to us. Let's see, these are the basic programs, doesn't matter. TeamViewer is running on port 49850, and this quad 0 means they're listening on each and every interface available to my system. And this 169 is APIPA, that is automatic private IP assigned to these applications. So if you go down, we don't see any application except these few up. So if I go and run let's suppose Python, so we'll do so I'll go to a folder, and then I'm gonna run python 3-m http.server. What? Do I have Python 3 there? I don't. So this will be, I guess, Python. Allow the access for this program. Let's go run this query one more time, and we should see Python somewhere here running it. And it's hard to go through all those things. I'm gonna do is set a query where port is equal to 8000. I guess by default it's run on 8000, and I see the process name, the port addresses, and process ID, that is 5766. So if I do the same thing, like where PID is, sorry, my bad, is equal to 51776, where PID is equal to this, and I did something wrong. Yep, so something is wrong there, and that's okay. Okay, so next thing is finding suspicious outbound traffic. So if I'm having anything that is suspicious, I can actually run the command and find out what's going on, and that is my use case 2. So in my computer right now, I'm not running any suspicious process except that PowerShell, Python thing. But here I can see much more information. So I'm going to do one thing, run this command and just add a limit for 5. So that will be easy for us to go through. So process ID, name of the process, local address, remote address, the family, protocols, local port, and remote port. So let's suppose I want to fetch some information. I can do on that way, or I can just add like 10 process, and I can see these things. Let's suppose there is something that is malicious running on a known bad IP address. I can just search for where remote address is equal to that particular IP address and search for the thing, and we should see that thing popping up on my computer. So the ton of things that we can do with this particular activity. Okay, so use case 3, if you're having something that process is deleted from your disk but that was running. So right now I know I don't have any process on this way, so it's going and give me the error. If I just do select star from processes, and this is everything that I have is already available on my system, so I won't be getting any output for this command. But if I had some binary that was actually connecting to somewhere and now it's deleted, we should have seen something here going on. Okay, now next thing is the kernel modules. So kernel modules load up in Windows and Linux. So, and in Windows it's kernel module, I guess. Nope. So to look into the kernel module for Windows quickly. But Linux, that is the same command. So I will go and show you from where I copied these commands, because anyhow I'm not a good guy who understand and remember all those things. So what I did is I went to OSQuery, click on the schema. Currently the version I am running, if you search for version, is 4.3.0. So I'm looking into 4.3.0, and I can click and select the platform. Currently I'm running on Windows, so I'll just make it for Windows compatible. So now all those commands that I'm seeing here is designed for Windows. So few things like Chrome extensions, right? So how many Chrome extensions I own? So I can run like select, and then I'm going to type something, name, because I want to fetch the name of the thing, and then I want to fetch the author from Chrome extensions, and it will go and fetch me all of my Chrome extensions. And let me run it one more time, and here you see it's fetching all those extensions that I'm using. You might have seen this uBlock Origin, Shodan, Uber, Amazon Assistance, YouTube, Sheets, documentations, and all those things. Now you will be seeing something is repeating multiple times because of this profile. So if I go and add profile here, and you will see someone is running on Learning Panda, someone on Dev, and someone is on Person 1. So each and everything is running on a different Chrome profiles. Okay, so it's not repeating itself. It's because I'm having multiple profiles, so it's printing out from multiple profiles. Same thing I can do with Firefox. So there's a Firefox add-ons. In Firefox add-ons, I want to fetch the same thing, the name. Do they have author? I don't see author. We have creators, so I'm going to have to change this to creator. So creator, and then from Firefox underscore add-ons. And again, if I look at here, we got Foxy Proxy, DNS over HTTPS, Firefox screenshots, that's here, and the creator is named after that, right? So other thing is, if you want to look into the logged in users, so I'm going to do the same thing. So select, I'm going to select user host from logged underscore in underscore users, and I see the username Animesh logged in. If I want, I can use the time as well. So let's go and add time. And time looks weird, right? This is not how time should look, right? So this is the epoch value for that time. So you can just go and search for internet like epoch timestamp converter and type this timestamp here, click on the human date, and I can see it's logged in as July 1st, and it's 8:54 p.m. and that is one day ago. Today is July 2nd, right? So last login to this system was July 1st. Easy peasy, right? Now same thing, let's suppose I wanna get some information about patches. So this is the patches. So I'm gonna do and select, and I wanna select two information. So first is hot fix underscore ID. Then I wanna select CS name, and then I'll select installed underscore by install underscore date from patches. So this is actually helped me a lot in my organization. So I can just run one command and I can see what patch is installed on what system, right? It's just a handy command to run and find out what's going on. Same thing with PowerShell events. So I can actually print out what's going on my PowerShell by running this command. Same with programs. You can print out programs version, publisher name, and all those things. If you don't understand stuff, the cheat sheet way is select star from the command, so like programs, and just make it limit to 1. So you can see the header as well as one output, right? So after that you can actually go and make it like this, like name, version, and make change limit to 10 to fetch 10 updates or 10 data from my query. So I can see I got Zoho Mail, 7-Zip, Burp Suite, Firefox, Lenovo Pen, Firefox again, Microsoft 365, VLC, and Lenovo Diagnosis Tool. So if I go and run this thing without a limit, it will go and fetch all information from my computer. And we can see it fetches almost each and every application that I own here. Pretty funny, right? Same with Python packages. I can run this command for a registry. There is the registry commands. And one thing that I'm pretty much, I guess everyone understood about system info. So select, I'm going to select host name. Then I'm going to select CPU underscore brand, and then computer underscore name from system underscore info, and it will go and fetch this information for me. And this is actually useful when we have ton of computers and you want to fetch some information to look into, CPU cores or other informations that might help us to upgrade or deprecate systems. We can run this kind of commands and find out what we own. Okay, then there is something for WMI that you can go and follow up. I guess this thing actually help you to understand how things works in real life. So I'm gonna go back to my screen. Okay, so that is this. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen, and now if you guys having any questions, any doubts, you can please ask. I'll try to answer it as much as possible. Ritik, sorry, I wasn't seeing that chat. Can you hear me properly now? I guess this is not the question that I was supposed to ask, but yeah, I'm asking anyhow. Any questions, you guys? If you have anything, you can ask me. So you want me to continue or just have it still this way? So I'm gonna go and show you one more thing that I had. Okay, then I can actually close up this one. Come on. So the entire credit goes to Attack Defense Labs, because from where I started learning this thing. Like, I was using OSQuery for a while, but I never used all those commands by myself. And they actually have some labs. I'll be sharing you those labs here. So if you click on this OSQuery endpoint security, it will go and open up the lab for you. So they have few labs, like 7 labs for you, and unfortunately none of these are available for community for now. But now you get the idea. You can run this kind of commands on your system and play around with all those things. So thank you guys. If you got any questions, yes, this PPT will be uploaded to RST1, so you can go get it from there. Use of OSQuery. Normally we use OSQuery. Okay, let me show you guys quickly. So I guess you can see my screen, right? So I'm gonna go and run my Ubuntu Lab quickly. You cannot see my screen. Yeah, you can. Anyone having issues with my screen actually? So I'm running Ubuntu machine here. Let it boot up first. It's not booting up for what? Oh, we are setting 100% CPU users. So let's close a few of those things. So I'm gonna go click and log into my Ubuntu machine. And what I did is I had installed Collide on this machine. I guess it will take a few more minutes to show me the screen actually. Okay, so finally we got the screen. Open up the terminal. Okay, so again, running these things as a root is always a good idea. And I get 2 files here. So first is fleet server. So I'm gonna run this command on my system. If you want, I can have another session showing you how you can set up Collide later on. Okay, so currently I'm just using on my own system because we're running out of time. Hey, yes, I use Microsoft Edge. Don't. Okay, so if everything goes fine, we should have seen it's running on 1.15, I guess. So it's not 1.3 anymore, that's 1.15. And we see we got a message, make it all HTTPS, accept the risk, non-login, OS admin. And if I write make my credentials created and everything looks fine, and I should see something like this here. So let's delete my machines, click a new host, copy the secret. This is the secret key that I have to run. Right now I don't have any machines here, right? So all host, if you look into the query, I got no query, and these are the hosts. Let's delete all of them because hey, we don't have anything online here. So I copy that thing. I'm going to run this thing on this computer as well. So sudo su dash will switch user to root, and dash will put into home directory. So if I cat into the other command, the agent one, this one that I have to run. So normally what I do, I run this thing and do a bash. So it will just go pipe it over to bash, and if everything goes fine, that did not went fine. So vim fleet agent, oh yeah, IP address, so it's running on 1.15, and everything looks fine to me. And we got the host. The host is here connecting now automatically. So we can have like ton of host here, right? And I can run commands by going into the query package. Let it connect first, then I can show you that one as well. Okay. It's taking time because I think I'm running recording in backend, and that's taking a lot of system resources. So let's make it on this way. Alrighty, so come on. So we see. We got this one. So here I can see it's Ubuntu 20.0.4, 4.2.0. That is my fleet agent version. The CPU, the RAM, the uptime, and the IP address. So if I go to query, and let's suppose I create a new query. So click it here and run a query like select star from OS_version. Right. So run this query, name it as a check versions, and then I can just save it as a new, and then I can actually go and select here. I can select all host, Mac OS, Ubuntu, CentOS, Windows, or I can make my own stuff here. If I run this command, it will take few times and give me the output here. Ubuntu focal 20, my end version is 4, name is Ubuntu, patch, and all those things. If you just want to select the name and the version, you can just do the same thing, right? Name underscore version, run this query, and it should run and give you the output here. Oh, the shell history one. Okay, I'll show you the shell history one. So Ubuntu, it's here. So if I do select star from shell history, run this query, because it's a Linux computer, so we should see all those Linux commands that I have run, and you can see all those commands that I had run is printed out here. So most of them is run with user ID root, sorry, Ubuntu, not root. So if I go and change select star from shell history, and then if I go and look into here, the UID, I can change it to root, and it will print out all those root credentials here. Then other command that I had is select star from users. So users, let's run this command quickly here as well, and we see all those users on this machine. So root, daemon, these are the basic users, and the only user that I had was this one, Aniroy. So you can see this IDs. So any ID above 1000 is a user, less than 1000 is a system things. So you can run this kind of commands and find out stuff on your systems. So I hope you guys will give it a try, right? Give it a try, learn this thing. This will actually help you to manage your systems, at least for your own computers, right? You're having multiple systems, you can have it install, run queries from one system, and fetch information from all those systems, like what you are running, what is your DNS queries, and stuff like that. I didn't show you the DNS one. Okay, select star from DNS resolvers. I'll have to select my all host. I just have one host, so it will be printing out here, right? So same thing if I do select star from routes. And you can run the same command here, select star from routes, and I can see a ton of routing thing here, right? So everyone having a gateway of 192.168.1.1. If you want, you can select and deal with like where gateway is equal to 192.168.1.1 and then make it more useful. So let's do this one quickly. So select star from routes, where what was this thing? Gateway, right? Yeah. So gateway is equal to this, and I can see 1.0 is the destination, 1.13 is the destination, 255 is the broadcast address, 224.0.0.0 it's I guess Microsoft thing, and this is the broadcast for my entire environment. So you said this is not that hard, right? That is a fun thing to learn and play with. So if you guys have any questions or doubts, you can ask.